Have you ever received an email from your doctor, from your dentist, from your bank, maybe even your insurance company, and attached to that email is a document, and that document's called a PDF? Does that happen to you? Do you struggle to get those open successfully? Well, it's your son in tech, Mackenzie, here again with a friendly tech help hour. And we're going to tackle those exact questions. If you answered yes, that you've received them and you struggle to get them open, today we're going to talk about exactly how to resolve it. We're removing all the mystery around PDF documents forever. We're going to learn what a PDF is. We're going to learn how your device handles those files and where they go when you download them. And of course, most importantly, we're going to figure out how to open them safely every single time on any device, Windows, iPhone, or Android. Does that sound good? All right, well, then let's get into it. First, we need to figure out what a PDF is. What even is it? How is it different from a Word document? Well, it's quite simple. It's quite simple. Imagine this. Back in the day, before we had computers, if you wanted to create a document, you used a typewriter, right? If you were at work, you were going to type it out on a typewriter. We're all familiar with using a typewriter. It's not very different from using a computer. But if you wanted to make edits to that document while you were typing it, what would you have to do? Well, you'd have to get your whiteout out, back the document up, and type over where there was a mistake, or in a lot of cases, you just start from scratch, right? So that you could make any edits. And it was once it was when it was in the typewriter, that was the time for editing. That was the entire time for editing. But once you were totally satisfied, you got it exactly how you want it, what would you do? Well, you take it out. And if the person that you wanted to share it with was in the office, well, you know what you would do. Of course, you would hand it to them. But if they weren't in the office, then you'd have to mail that document to them. So while the paper was in the typewriter, you're editing. But as soon as you took it out, no more edits. It was preserved. That was exactly what you wanted them to see. Well, nowadays we do something very different, but similar, right? Rather than typing directly onto the paper, we type onto the screen using Microsoft Word or Google Docs, right? That's where we make all of our edits. But if we send them that document in the format that we are editing it on, right? It's called a .doc. It can be edited still. So we could send it to someone, they could make edits and send it back. But what if we want to freeze it, right? What if we just wanted to, so to speak, pull it out of the typewriter and have someone just view it? No more edits, they could only read it. Maybe they could sign it if they agreed with it, if it were a contract, for example. Well, now you don't have to print it out to do that. You can change its format on your device. So before it was something called a doc or a .doc. It can be a various ending, but it's a document. If you want to lock all that information into that document exactly how it appears, you simply change the format. You save it from a doc to a preserved document format or a PDF, a preserved document format. It's just like digitally printing it out. You don't have the physical version, but it's locked in. No edits can be made to it from that point on. Now, that's the basics of how we do it today, right? We type on whatever device we're on, we save, right? We save it into the preserved document format, and that makes it something called read only. No edits. The PDF is designed simply for viewing. At most, someone could sign it. Right? So let's just lock that in. Very, very important. When you're working on it on the computer, it's in document format. It's just like it's still in the typewriter. But as soon as you save it as a PDF, it can only be read. It can only be viewed. That's why your bank or your doctor sends you PDFs because they only want you to view it. They don't want you to make any edits. They just want you to see the exact information that is there, right? Very simple. It's just like pulling it out of the typewriter. That's what saving something as a PDF is. Read only. That's simple, right? Well, we still got some mysteries that we need to take the shroud away from, right? So where does it go? When you save a PDF, where does it go on your device? Well, it's not complicated. Again, we just have to remember something, right? And it's something that we know, but let's visualize it a little bit. Your job where you were typing, right? Once you had finished creating that document, person viewed it, they agreed with it, maybe they added their signature. Where would it go? It doesn't get to live on your desk. It doesn't get to just float in the ether of the dusty office. No, it has to go into a filing cabinet, right? You put the files in the filing cabinet. Well, your device, though small, has a massive filing cabinet built into it. Massive rows and rows and rows of files are able to be placed into your device. And not just files, images, videos. In fact, later this week, we've got a nice live stream. We're going to talk about that subject of videos, images, and screenshots. So be sure to check our YouTube channel to see the schedule for when we'll be talking about that. So, your device, it has this massive filing cabinet in it. So the files are going to get saved there. Now, back in the day when you worked in your office, you typed up the documents and you were satisfied with the document, you put it in the filing cabinet. How did you organize that file cabinet? You didn't just throw things in there haphazardly, and if you did, you know you didn't have that job very long. You had to use a organizing method, right? So that things were organized. Now, how would you do that? Well, we all know the best and most effective way, of course, was alphabetically. So let's say if it was employee files, it was in alphabetical order based on the last name of the person who you were putting the file in for, right? So maybe the top drawer was A to F, the next drawer was F to I, or whatever the case. It was always alphabetical order. And see, maybe our brains are still stuck on alphabetical order. Let's lock this in. If you're dealing with your device, it's not using alphabetical order. That's too complicated for your device. It's a smart device, but it also works in a simple way. So when you download a file, it goes into this filing cabinet, but not in alphabetical order, in chronological order, meaning in the order that it was received. So the oldest files will be at the bottom and the newest will be at the top. So if you just downloaded something, it's at the very tip top of your folder, right? So very, very important to lock that in. Everything is stored chronologically. It's stored chronologically. So where is this filing cabinet in your device? Where is it, right? Because that's one of the biggest challenges is trying to find something once we've downloaded it. Where did it go? Well, let's solve that mystery. Very, very simple. You're just going to want to look for these icons. If you see these icons, right, that is exactly where your files have gone. So on an iPhone or an iPad or a MacBook, it's going to look like that blue folder there. It's called Files. You just go to your library, you search Files, it'll show you that blue folder, and everything you've ever downloaded is in a folder inside of that program called Downloads, right? So you type in Files, you go there, you look for downloads, they're all there, guaranteed. Android, if you're on an Android device, you'll see the one there that's got the green, the yellow, and the red tab with the blue folder. Same thing, it's called My Files or Files. Inside of it is a file called Downloads, that's where they'll be. And on Windows, you've got that Manila folder there, right? That Manila folder, it's called File Explorer. You use that, and guaranteed inside of it, there's a file called Downloads. Everything you've ever downloaded is right there in those folders. Those are the giant file cabinets inside of your device. So all of your downloads are there. Now, sometimes, and in fact, I hate to say this, I won't mention any names, but a lot of times when people come to me for help, and they say, "Hey, I got this document, this PDF from my doctor. It had X-rays in it, and I can't find it. I've looked through all my photos, and it's not there." A lot of times, because we cannot edit a PDF, we think that it's in with the pictures, and it's not. It's not with the pictures. You'll never find your PDFs in the folder with your pictures, right? They're always saved to downloads, not with your images. This is extremely important. Don't look in your photo apps for your PDFs. That's not where you're going to find them, I promise. They're always going to be in downloads. So if you're looking, you're thinking, oh, I got this from my insurance company. I know I downloaded it, but I can't find it. Don't look in photos. Don't look in my pictures, right? Look in the downloads file, right? Keep that in mind. Now, let's say you have received one of these files. How do I open it? You want to know, how do I open this PDF document? Well, the best news I have for you today is that you don't have to download anything. There's nothing to download. Every device has a program built into it that allows you to open and view a PDF file, right? Great news. So if you're on an iPhone or an iPad, as soon as you tap it, it opens in something called Preview. It's a new window that'll pop up on top of whatever program you're in, and it'll show you what that PDF document looks like. Something similar happens with Android. It will open in Google PDF Viewer, or it'll open in Google Chrome. If you had just downloaded it maybe from like your bank website and you were looking at your bank statement, it'll open it right there in Chrome or in Google PDF Viewer. The same will happen in Windows. It will open in your web browser, which by standard is the Edge browser, right? It'll open automatically. Now, if you're confused about what a web browser is, I encourage you, go to our YouTube. We've got a whole video dedicated to understanding websites and web browsers. So take a look at that. That'll clear up any confusion you have about what a web browser is. Now, keep in mind, the technology that is built into any of your devices is designed specifically for viewing, not for editing a PDF document, but for viewing. Remember, that's its purpose, is to be viewed, not to be edited. So when you tap on these PDFs, whether it's in an email or you see it in a text message from your doctor or your dentist, it may not have downloaded. You've only looked at it. That's like you received it in the mail, you opened it, but you never filed it away, right? You have to file it away. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, is with that idea that, okay, well, I don't know where it is. And so they get stuck. They think it's still in their email. And it is. It's not going to be in your folder. So you have to download it specifically. Don't worry. I'm going to show you on 3 different devices exactly how to do this. So if you're confused, stick around. We're going to make it really, really simple. Now, there are some things that you want to be careful about as it relates to PDF documents, because not every PDF document is safe for you to open. So let's talk about some precautions as it relates to PDFs. So the first, if you do not recognize the person or the email address that sent you that PDF document, don't open it. Remember, curiosity killed the cat. We talked about that in our email live stream. If you weren't expecting it and you don't recognize the sender, if it's not someone you do business with, if it's not a personal friend, if it's not your doctor, dentist, insurance company, don't open it. There's no need to open a PDF that you were not expecting, right? So if you don't recognize, you don't expect, don't open it. Another, if it includes a link inside of that PDF document. So you open it, you look at it, and it has a link. Don't click on that link. Don't click on that link. Oftentimes, scammers like to send you a fake document to your email, and it may say something like, oh, this is your last warning to pay this invoice to your power company, or to pay this bill, or you have a delivery that we need you to send a payment for. Open this PDF and go to the link inside to pay that. They're hoping that you won't recall that you didn't actually do that. And their objective is to get you to open it and go to that website and give them your information. So if it has a link inside, you want to be very cautious, maybe even just don't click on it at all. Last but not least, precautions around PDF documents. If you click on it and you see a pop-up, and that pop-up says, allow macros or enable editing, do not. Do not, do not, do not. That is a very, very tricky thing that is it's gotten a lot of people in a lot of issues with their devices because when you allow those things to happen, remember we talked about permissions on your device last week. If you authorize that program to edit anything inside your device, there's a lot of danger there. So if it does that, just click cancel, delete that email, right? You don't want to allow macros. You don't want to enable any sort of editing from a PDF document. So there we have it. We've talked about what a PDF is, where it goes, where it doesn't go. Remember, it doesn't go to your photo apps. And now we've talked about some precautions around it. What we're going to do now, ideally, I did a nice test on this earlier, so I feel very confident that we're going to be successful. But I'm going to share my screen on my device so that you can see exactly how to open one of these files, right? You'll be astonished at the simplicity. And what's very nice is you'll be able to go back and review this anytime you want. So first, we're going to start with an Android device. So give me 1 second to get this set up. And we are going to have a look at my tablet. So let's take a look here. There it is. All right. So you can see my tablet there. So that is my tablet screen. Let me just show you that it is indeed me. I'm just going to hit that little thing on the left. You see how it expanded? It expanded out there. So you can see that this is my tablet. And look, see, it's really me. No confusion. 100% McKinsey working with you. So let's just say, for example, you have received an email, you get a notification from your doctor. Let's say you went to the doctor the other day and the doctor says, hey, I have the results of your test. Let me share them with you. So that's in your email. Let's take a look. Oh, we see it at the very top there. You see, email from Dr. Brown. We've got an email. So we went to the doctor. We're expecting this email. Let's take a look at what he has for us. Here it says, okay, dear Mackenzie, I hope you're feeling well. Please see the attached PDF for the results of your x-ray during your recent visit. Oh, okay, perfect. Great. This is exactly what we were hoping to see. And look, the file is called, as you can see, test result. Test result. So this is what we were looking for. Now watch what happens. If I tap on this, you see it opened it up. And it opened it up so that we could view it, right? There's no way to edit. It looks a little small. I'm going to do something, a gesture. I'm going to put 2 fingers on here and I want to zoom in to make it bigger. It's a little hard to see, right? Do you see what I did? I took my 2 fingers, I placed them on the screen, and I zoomed in to make it bigger for myself so it's easier to read that way. And then I can just use my 2 fingers to move it around, right? So that now I can read it more easily, right? So you can see how now it's much bigger and you can zoom in as much as it'll allow you, right? You see it's giving me the warning. You're full screen here. So now we can view exactly what it says. I can see the x-ray right at the bottom there, and it's got the information for me. Now, let's just say, let's back out of that. Let's say I want to share that file with another doctor. Let's say I need to see a pulmonary specialist, right? I need to see a lung doctor. I need to share that with them. Well, where would I go to find it? Well, let's take a look. I'll go to, remember this icon here? Files. Let's go to Files. Wait a minute. Didn't we just saw, now we were together. Nothing is, this screen didn't change. This is still same tablet. I don't see that PDF in here. You know why? Remember when we said if you tap on it, it doesn't download it? Well, that's exactly what happened. We have to download it. So let's go back to our email. And when we go to our email, you'll notice that after the name of the file, there's a little arrow pointing down. That's a cue for us to know that that is how we download the file. So let's see what happens when we download it. We tap that down arrow. You see that it was highlighted. All right. So it says attachment is downloaded. It's downloaded successfully. Okay. So let's see what that means. That means we should be able to go back to files and go to our downloads and it should be there. Let's see if we can find it. But we don't see it. So we'll back up. Well, look at the very top in files. Remember we said it would be at the top? Look, it's right there. And if we go to downloads, there we have it. The very tip top under download. So we went into the folder after we downloaded it and it was the very first thing. And if we tap on it there we have it. The exact file that we were looking for. The key was to download it. And now we can share it very easily. You see there's that little icon that looks like three dots that are a partial triangle right here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You see right up there, those three up there. If you tap on those, it will allow you to share it. So if you wanted to share it to a different doctor, you would just do that. All right, we lost our connection, but I think we got it, right? I think we got it on an Android device. Now, that was on an Android device. Why don't we try it on an Apple device? You'll be surprised at how simple this is. It's not very complicated. In fact, it's so similar, you'll wonder if I even did anything different. But first, let me get us connected here so that you can see my screen. And I'm going to be using an iPad. Just so you know, this is my iPad here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to connect, and then we're going to take a look at this together. So 1 second. All right, here we go. Now, let's take a look here. We should be seeing my screen here any moment. All right, let's try it again. We got a bad connection. We're going to try one more time, see if we can get that figured out. And in the interim, I will also go ahead and pull up our Windows version. But first, let's try our iPad one more time. And you may be wondering, why didn't you already have it ready? Trust me, if that were possible, I would have done it for you, but there was no guarantee. So we're going to try one more time. See if we can get there we have it. All right, let's take a peek here. All right, so now we've got our iPad. So same thing, we're going to go to our email. We're expecting our results. And here we have, yep, that exact same email, but now we're just going to do it on the iPad. So Same thing. It's who we were expecting it from. Let's tap on it. You notice, did you see how it popped up? Did you see? Let's do that again. When I tapped on it, did you notice that it popped up something on top of what we were viewing? See, this is that preview. Remember we discussed that preview, right? And we can see it. Same thing. I can zoom in, right? All that same functionality is here, right? Remember, you pinch the fingers, you place both fingers on it, and as you spread those fingers, it makes it closer. And when you bring those fingers back together, it makes it smaller. Same thing, if you put two fingers open on the screen and then you pinch them together, it makes it smaller. So you're just zooming in and out, right? So we're able to do that, but we have not downloaded it yet. Now, interestingly, on a Apple product, it's the reverse. On Google, we saw the down arrow into a box. It's the opposite. Take a look here. Take a look. You see that? The up arrow coming up out of the box there. On the right, that is the cue that we're looking for to let us know, all right, that's where we want to be. That arrow right there, right? So we're going to tap on that. You see it's going to say, wait a minute, we got to download this. Where do you want to save it? Well, look at the very bottom there. You see what it says? Save to files. Save to files. That's what we want to do, right? And where do we want to save it? Right there on my iPad. And it's called PDF1. We don't want to call it that. We want to call it X-rays from Dr. Brown, right? And now at that top right, you can't see it because hold on, let me move myself so you can see. Get myself out of the way. See right there, it says save. Right there, save. That's where you want to click. If you want to preserve this in your filing cabinet, that's where it is. Now, here's the cool part. If we go to our app library, remember, and we type in files, look, remember that blue folder we saw? There it is. Let's tap it, and guess what's in there? X-rays from Dr. Brown. It's boom, it's right there. Very, very simple. Very simple. And when we're done, look at the very top right, we just hit done. Simple. And then we're back. So now we know how to do this on an Android and on an Apple device. Let's close up that screen share. We're going to do one more demonstration on a Windows device this time. How to open and view a PDF document on a Windows device. Again, nothing complex. Let's just take a second and look at it. So here we are again. Now we are on our Windows device, and you see our email right there. There we go. Now you can see there's our email from Dr. Brown as we expected it, right? Let's click on it. And same message. Hey, I hope that you're doing well. See the attached PDF, and you see it's got the name that we want, test results for McKinsey. And see here, we've got two options. We've got preview or we have download. Well, we've seen the preview plenty of times, right? Let's just download it. So it tells us it's downloading. And did you see it popped up there? And now it's saying, hey, here it is. If you want to look at it, you can look at it anytime you want, right? And we'll go to that. You notice right here, this little thing that looks like a folder. Remember we said that that's how it would look on a Windows device, that file folder. Well, look, there it is. Now, when we click on it, it's going to change the screen. But it would take us to the file where that is. I don't want to take you through that whole rigmarole. We'll keep it simple. We'll just open it right here, and you see the exact same concept. And guess what? We can do the same thing with our fingers on the trackpad on our computer. You can zoom in that same idea, putting your fingers together and opening them up. You can zoom in, so no matter how big or small the text is, you can read it with ease. That was a lot, wasn't it? But now we know not only what a PDF document is, very, very important, right? But now we know how to open them and where to find them, how to save them, and where to locate them. We have closed quite a bit of that digital divide today. It's these little victories, right? These little things that are going to make you feel more and more confident on your devices. So, if you found this helpful, which I really, truly, sincerely hope that you did, um, I would love to hear from you. Please let me know in the chat if you were able to successfully do this. However, if you run into a problem, don't stress out about it. Just go to getfriendly.help and we're there to help you out whenever you need it. Just grab one of the time slots and we can work through it just like how we're doing this on video now. We can do the exact same thing, just one on one, or if you want a family member to join you, whatever the case, I'm more than happy to help. Later this week, we're going to talk about pictures, the exact same concept, but with pictures and screenshots so you know exactly how to take them, how to share them, most importantly, how to save them. It is your son in tech, Mackenzie. Thanks for joining. We're going to see you next time.